All right, we might get started. I know that we've got a few more people joining, but that's okay. We will get on with some intros and housekeeping of bits and pieces, and they can catch us up. We are recording tonight, so there will be a link sent out to the presentation afterwards. If you miss anything or need to catch up, that will be available afterwards. So let me just share my screen and let me get my slide deck happening. Okay, can we see my slides? Cool, lovely. Hopefully we can see my slides and we can still see me somewhere on the screen. Hopefully I've pinned myself, so you should all be able to see me. Lovely. All right, well, welcome. Hello. Super excited to have everyone with us this evening. I hope that you're all warm and comfortable wherever you are. It is freezing here in my office in Perth at the moment, so hopefully you're all warmer than I am. But for those who I haven't had the pleasure of meeting in the past, my name is Kate. Let me change my slides. I am the founder of She Codes. I've been doing this for about 7.5 years now. Yeah, I really love all of the things that I am able to do. I'm going to be the facilitator for this evening. So how this is going to run is we're going to give you a little bit of information about the program and what it involves and what the application process looks like and all of that kind of information. And then we get two of my amazing alumni who are on the call with us tonight, Sophie and Maria. And we're going to ask them a couple of questions about their journey about being a woman in tech and about what being a software developer actually looks like, and have the opportunity for you guys to ask some questions as well. So please have a think while we're chatting. Feel free to pop some questions in the chat. If you haven't used Zoom before, your chat should be down on the bottom of your screen, or it should have been popping up a lot with lots of notifications. People are popping in where they're from. But feel free to pop stuff in the chat. I will try and keep an eye on it and answer questions at the end. Otherwise, I will prompt you as well when we get to the question and answer question section. Wow, that was not a great sentence, but the question and answer section for you to pop in some of those questions as well. Before we get started, I do want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are in, which I know is a lot of different lands that we're all on from tonight. So thank you so much for sharing where you're from. The traditional owners of the land that I'm on tonight is the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation here in Perth in Western Australia. And I feel very lucky and honoured to be able to be on such beautiful land. So definitely want to pay respects to elders past, present and emerging. I don't think I have any other housekeeping, so we can just get straight into it. So welcome to She Codes. If you haven't been to a She Codes event in the past, welcome. Hopefully you feel like you're part of something tonight. Our goal is to create an inclusive community of 100,000 women across Australia by 2025, which is a pretty ambitious goal. And where that number came from is a couple of these statistics. So we know that only 29% of roles are currently held by women, and only less than 30% of tech is ethnically diverse, but we have 75% of the fastest growing careers requiring some level of technical skills. We also know that we need another 1 million people in tech by 2025. So that number used to be, we need 200,000 people in tech by 2025. So we were like, cool, let's make half of them women and make 100,000 women in our community. That number has exploded massively post-COVID, with everyone moving to digital solutions. Really changing up the future of work. So it's now 1 million that we need in tech, but we can still have 100,000 women in tech in our community, would still make a huge difference to the diversity across Australia. So that's our goal. And how we do this, we do a bunch of different events at the moment. I'm trying to there we go. We do a bunch of different events at the moment. We do a one-day workshop. We do which we just did one in Sydney recently. And we've got one in Perth this weekend. We do those 4 times a year in Perth, and we'll be twice a year in Sydney and Brisbane. If you're somewhere else outside of those places, don't fear. Feel free to let us know where you're from, and hopefully we'll have a workshop near you sometime soon. We will also be in Melbourne towards the end of this calendar year as well. So those one-day workshops are really your opportunity to kind of dip your toes in and figure out if this is something that sparks joy for you. And then getting a little bit deeper with other online tutorials or other learning experiences. We had a week-long program called Flash, which we don't have any coming up at the moment, but there are lots and lots of opportunities for you to learn with resources on the internet. And then we've got our Plus program, which is what we're really going to spend a bunch of time talking about tonight. Then we've got relationships with recruitment companies and with organizations for jobs and opportunities, because that's really what the aim is of these kind of programs, is to really kind of give you the whole spectrum from I know nothing about tech to I'm interested in finding a place in tech to I can get a job in tech. And then hopefully you'll rejoin us as a mentor or a panelist, like our amazing alumni who are joining us on this call tonight. So that is our kind of whole complete pathway. But we see people kind of dipping in and out at various points along that journey as well. So you might get to the end of this call tonight and realize that you want to do the whole thing. You might realize that maybe just a one-day workshop is the starting place for you. Or you might realize that you've already done all of that exploring stuff and you're really ready just to dive straight in at plus level, hopefully, which is mostly what we're going to talk about tonight. Yeah, so there's a couple of different kind of entry and exit points along that as well. So what is She Codes Plus? I've thrown around a lot of words without really explaining what we do. At Plus, we're really looking at how we can do things super differently. So this was a conversation that we had with our program partners back in 2019. Or 2018 even. How do we really change up the whole model of how we teach people technical skills? So traditional models just weren't really working fast enough and providing opportunities for a really diverse range of people to come through and learn and get the confidence and skills and opportunities that they needed to kind of bridge some of the diversity gap. So what we did was we created this 6-month program. It's part-time, it's outside of business hours, and we have fully funded scholarships available to really try and address some of the barriers that exist for women getting into these kinds of roles. So it's designed by women, for women, with a really diverse teaching team of women and men who support our programs, but really focusing on like the whole person as they kind of come through the programs. So what does that actually look like? So if you already know a little bit of technical stuff, these words might make sense to you. If you don't, then that's totally okay, because we're starting from the beginning anyway. But if it is important to you to know what tech stack we're doing, we're learning in HTML and CSS. We're learning in JavaScript and React, which is a framework using JavaScript. We're using Python and we're using Django and the Django REST framework to kind of build out the rest of that tech stack. Everything that we do is project-based. So you'll build a portfolio along the way, right from your very first project, building a personal portfolio website, which is unique to you. Like, hi, I'm Kate. This is the things that I create. And here's a link to all of my different projects and the work that I've done, right through to our final group project, which is a collaborative group project that you're working with a group of 4 or 5 other women and working towards a client brief and really delivering something in a kind of shared group environment. So there's 5 projects that you'll be working on, and everything's really practical along the way as well. And like I said before, it's really important to me that this is more than just our coding program. So we have presentations from guest speakers, it's working with others, it's learning about role models in tech, it's working on presentation skills in a non-terrifying way, but having presentations, building confidence, doing stand-up at the end of beginning of every session, just sharing, this is the hard thing that I did this week, and this is the success that I had this week. growing that network of peers and people in industry. So at the end of the program, 24 other women who 100% have your back, and you've got a network of 15 to 20 mentors in industry who work at all of the big companies in your area that you can kind of lean on for networks and support and introductions, and help ongoing as well. So it really is more than just learning how to code. So if we can talk a little bit about outcomes, because that's really important. So this is from a bunch of these stats are from our last Perth cohort. They had a 9.4 out of 10 likelihood of recommending the program. 100% think they'll use at least one of the skills in the future. 100% think that they've achieved their post-program goals, which is really exciting. We're all hitting goals here, which is great. And there's 95% relevance of the program content in the real world, which is a little bit hard to measure, but what we're teaching is actually useful in an industry context, which is great. And the thing that I'm most proud of is that about 70% of our alumni are currently working in technical roles post-program, and most of that has happened in the first 3 months post-program. And we're going to have a chat in a little bit to Maria and Sophie, who can tell us a little bit about what their journey has looks like starting roles in tech as developers. So a little bit of a timeline, and I probably should go back actually to talking a little bit about locations. So we have launched the Sydney program applications already. Sydney launched 2 weeks ago. The middle of June, we launched the Sydney program in partnership with Virtual Gaming Worlds, BGW, and their Sydney office. So we have 24 scholarships in the Sydney program. Applications for that are open right now. So you can jump on and have a look through the application questions and jump on and apply for that program. That will be open until the 8th of August. Then we'll be doing some shortlisting and interviewing, and the cohort is going to start on the 27th of September, running right through till the 8th of April. We will be launching applications for Perth and for Brisbane very soon. They're going to follow the exact same cohort start and end time. So they're also going to start on the 27th of September and they're going to end on the 8th of April. So we're going to have 3 cities running in programs simultaneously, which is super, super exciting. We've never done that before. But this is a really great opportunity for all of you, because now not only do you have 24 women who totally have your back, you've got 75 women from all across Australia who are going through the exact same shared experience that you've been going through. So that's going to be really exciting. We are still confirming a few things for the Perth and Brisbane cohorts, which is why it's not open right now. But we will have an expressions of interest open after tonight. So if you are interested and you're from Perth or Brisbane, interested in being part of the program, we'll have a form that you can express interest in the program. You can start having a look through the application questions for Sydney, so you can get a little bit of a gauge of what the application process looks like and start drafting what some of the answers might look like. And then we'll let you all know when Perth and Brisbane will launch. In terms of actual class times, again, this should stay relatively consistent across all of our locations. For the Sydney program specifically, we're going to be running Tuesday nights and Saturday mornings. The program will be running out of a space in Parramatta. So we'll be able to send through some details about that. It is honestly the most beautiful space that you've ever been to. It's a big call, I know. It's some beautiful spaces out there, but it is a very spectacular space that we've managed to secure in Parramatta. So that's where the programs can be held out of, Tuesday nights and Saturday mornings. We are doing a little bit of a poll of people who are applying about the start and end times for the Tuesday sessions, because I do appreciate that getting to Parramatta from the CBD can take a little bit of time. So we're open to a 5:30 to 8:30 or a 6 till 9, depending on where the cohort feels like, or the applicants feel like is a best fit for them. But in our other locations, it will be 5:30 to 8:30, again in Perth and Brisbane. And on Saturdays, it will be from 9 till 1. So those classes are pretty much every week. I will run through in a second the actual dates of the different modules. There's some breaks in there as well, but more or less it's every week, those 7 contact hours a week. We do suggest that it's about 10 to 15 hours outside of business, outside of contact hours as well, for you to kind of go through at your own pace and go through exercises and work on your projects. But it's kind of one of those things that you get out what you put in. So if you have lots of time and are able to put lots into it, and get really involved in your projects, then you might be able to get a lot more done than someone who kind of doesn't have that time. So it's just something to keep in mind. And I can see there's like a million messages in the chat, but I haven't even opened it. So I'm going to open that in a second, but I'm going to keep running with dates. So these are the dates that we just mentioned. I might pause actually here on this slide so you can have a little bit of a read. And if you need to flick through calendars, then you can do so. But HTML CSS, we're going to be running for 3 weeks from the end of September to the middle of October. Then there's a break. Then we've got Python for 3 weeks. Then there's a break. Then we've got Django for 3 weeks. And you have a break over Christmas, a little bit of a longer Christmas break, can rest, let that all digest. And then we run straight back into Django REST framework, or DRF, and JavaScript and React. And then there's a break before the group project. We should wrap up just before Easter. So I'll give you that for 1 second. I'm just going to have a quick check. And Angela's answering all of those questions. I love it. Cool. We'll keep moving on. So I mentioned earlier that this is a scholarship-based program. So everything that we have been able to do up until now has been offering free, fully funded scholarships. And we will have a number of fully funded scholarships for Perth and for Brisbane. And we have 24 fully funded scholarships for the Sydney program, Parramatta program as well. So that does mean that it's a competitive program. And so we are looking for applications from people to tell us a little bit about why them. I get asked all the time, do I need to have a degree? Do I need to have a certain qualification? Do I need to have some kind of means testing? And the answer to that is no, we're not really looking for any of that kind of thing. What we're looking for is for you to be passionate and excited and have a vision and aspiration of where you want to be in tech. So the most important thing for us is that passion and determination. How are you going to keep going when things get hard? And you can show that in a bunch of different ways. If you've studied another language while you were or studied it all while you're working. Maybe you've learned a language like guitar, balanced a couple of different things, like just talking about what that kind of looks like for you. Has there been a time in your life when things have got really challenging and you've had to work through something? Is this something that you've really thought about, like where your opportunities might go in tech, and what's your vision and excitement for where you want to be in your career? Why is now the right time? So time is obviously a really important factor for doing something like this. Our give back. So one of our really core values is pay it forward. And we hope that in paying these forward, these opportunities to our alumni, and then they can pay it forward to people in their networks, either through mentoring or supporting other people in their organization, or promoting other women in other opportunities, some kind of pay it forward for the broader community. And then diversity, and we really do mean every kind of diversity here as well. So what's your unique value proposition? What kind of diversity do you bring to the group from your age, backgrounds, experience, and how can that kind of diverse group make better results together? So there are kind of major criteria. The questions are really straightforward in the application. The major question is just tell us a story in 500 words why you want to be part of this program. Then there is an opportunity for you to submit a video as well, a 1-minute video. I really highly encourage anyone who is thinking about this to do the video because it really is the best way for us to get to know who you are. But if filming a video is a barrier for you, because I know it is a barrier for a lot of people, and we totally respect that, then we do have the opportunity for you to answer that question in the text box as well, which is, what is your future career aspirations in tech? So definitely answer that question in one way or another. But hopefully we'll get to see you on video and get to know you a little bit better. And then there's some questions about who your role models are, what your learning style looks like, so that we can help tailor this program a little bit to your specific kind of learning needs. And then there'll be some questions about the specific scholarship information as well. So relatively straightforward, shouldn't take you a huge amount of time if you don't overthink it. But I know that's why we keep applications open for quite a significant period of time, so that you do have that kind of chance to go through and think about what your answers might be. So how to apply? So to be eligible, you must identify as a woman, and our definition of women, it's really important that that our definition of women includes all women, cisgender and transgender women, and those who identify beyond the binary as well. So anyone who feels like they have experienced some kind of oppression or feels like they've experienced that as being a woman is eligible to apply for the program. They have to be over the age of 18 for legal reasons. We are unable to accept people who are under the age of 18. Must have the right to live and work in Australia, so that you can stay in Australia for the program, for the length of the program. And hopefully we can help you find a job with our program partners afterwards. Must be able to attend at least 80% of the classes and at least 5 hours a week on projects and activities post-program. And those classes will be all in person. At this stage, we don't have a fully online option. And I did see someone in the chat asking if there was a regional or remote option. And unfortunately for this program, we think it's really important to have people together to build community and to kind of go through that shared learning experience. So this unfortunately isn't the program for you, but stay tuned. Maybe sometime in the future, we might have a program for you. But this program will be in person. So Sydney will be at the Parramatta space, and Perth and Brisbane will be in the CBD. In Brisbane, we work out of Fortitude Valley, and Perth, we work out of St George's Terrace. This space here actually at RIF 45 St George's Terrace. Must have a passion and desire to learn and hopefully to be in tech. That's the point of the program. And you must be able to submit your application by the 8th of August over at shecodes.com.au/plus. So that's pretty straightforward, hopefully. Hopefully there's nothing too crazy in there. But we do have a couple of our amazing alumni who are on the call with us today as well. I'm going to introduce them and then I'm going to stop sharing. Actually, I'm going to introduce my team as well before I stop sharing. So I'm going to get Angela and Caroline just to unmute themselves and say hello. And then I'm going to introduce Maria and Sophie, and they can unmute themselves and say hello. And then we'll jump into some questions. So I'm going to stop sharing. And we will get, I'll get Angela to say hi.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for all those questions. You certainly got my little fingers going, warmed them up nicely. Carolyn?
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. You have my email. I send you all the reminders. So if you have any questions, please just contact me. And I'm in Sydney, so I'm happy to help with like simple question like transport or question about the program. So please contact me. You can just reply to the email and I will be able to send you everything. Nice to meet you all.
Amazing. And now I'm going to stop pinning my screen as well, because I think I'll probably look huge on all of your screens. It's now my absolute pleasure to introduce two of the most amazing humans